In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Good evening there, and welcome to this very early Sunday surgery with myself and Jason. I'm happy it's early. Jason's happy it's early today because he's got a lot of family business.
I'm happy.
To deal with. But yes, it's been a very interesting game week so far. We discussed everything all day yesterday. We'll get Jason's thoughts on that, what happened yesterday. But more importantly, we've already had one game today with Watford beating Man United 2-0. Spurs at the moment, of course, losing 1-0 to Chelsea. Willian with the goal and Kovacic with the assist, which you believe. Watford, like I just said, mentioning there, winning 2-0 versus Man United. Dini, Sarr with the goal, Sarr and Kabalaselli with the assists. Jason, before we get your thoughts on that game, who's in the chat? And then we want to hear you let rip.
Bilal Qureshi's there, Angus Gordon, Abdul Kadir, Vish, Phil, It's Raw 12G, Gabriel Durop, Archie, and Ray Joyce. Welcome, everybody. I'm either really deluded, or I've just have blind faith in my football team. Like literally, watched the game today, and it was just an absolute joke. United just couldn't do anything. 1 second.
Yeah, so like I said, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, Jason is having to basically babysit today, so to speak. So there may be some interruptions today, hence why we're going early. But Jason, you back?
Yeah, I'm here. It's just right, literally. I'm so angry at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's decision to bench Greenwood and not give him that start. Like, I'm sick of Rashford just sitting on the left-hand touchline for the majority of the game, passing it sideways, and we're not playing him to his strengths. I'm sick of being a United supporter and just watching negative football when we're up against a team that is sitting back and who is looking to capitalise on our shortcomings. And believe you me, we've got our shortcomings. David De Gea, absolutely world-class goalkeeper, seasons gone by. This season, I'm sorry, he should be dropped. Romero should be in goal. He's made too many mistakes now. David De Gea, he should be dropped, and Romero should be in goal. That's my thoughts.
A lot of people in chat, Jason, are mentioning Paul Pogba. Is he just straight into the team? And Jason isn't there. He's dealing with his daughter at the moment.
What did you say about Paul Pogba?
Paul Pogba. People are mentioning in chat that Paul Pogba, is he going to go straight into the team now he's back?
Well, I don't. I ask Ollie. I mean, does he deserve to? I mean, probably. He probably should go back into the team, purely because he's better than McTominay. And 1 second, gotta be.
Yeah, so obviously people are mentioning Paul Pogba and everything. I mean, I predicted that. Officially, I predicted a draw, but I did say that it really wouldn't surprise me if Watford went on to win this game, because reality is that I think Man United are terrible. That's based on absolutely nothing other than their results. They do seem to, as we all know, have proven they pick up against the bigger teams because they seem to attack teams. Jason, what is it with United and not being able to beat these? Let's be honest here, rubbish teams. Just the fact they just
we don't have the ability to thread great passes, great balls. We don't have the people that can put crosses in. We don't have the people that can get on the end of a cross. I didn't think Martial had a good game. I think we're missing a prolific striker is what we're missing, and we're missing a talisman in midfield that can literally control the game. A Kevin De Bruyne-esque player. I mean, we don't have that creativity in midfield at all. Just feel so sorry for Greenwood, because if I was Mason Greenwood, I'd be thinking, well, what have I got to do to get into that team as a starter? Is it just because I'm young? Is it just because I'm young that I'm getting benched? And
he starts the Europa League.
No, I'm on about in the Premier League. I mean, I'm just thinking now that, I'm glad I didn't captain Marcus Rashford, and I'm sorry those who did. Because, anyways, let's go through some of the chat. And do we have a guest appearance? Yeah, my little one. I'm sorry. I just want to say to chat, I'm sorry I didn't do a Saturday FPL live yesterday. I've been suffering from a sinus issue. I had a bad cold last week, as some of you may know. The end of last week, I was getting what I thought to be headaches, and it turned out that my sinuses were pretty much inflamed, and it was awful, really painful, and I wasn't able to really concentrate or think, and at the very least I wouldn't be able to stream, so I do apologise for that. Martial created 3 big chances during the last 30 minutes today. So much for being lazy. I think overall he didn't have a great game. I didn't realise Martial was playing until his shot in the 88th minute, says Phil. United will suffer against teams that are going to sit back and try and counter them. United will always do better against big teams that are expecting to have large percentage of the possession. Ultimately, United don't know what to do with the ball. They don't know what to do when they're in possession. They're literally set up to counter-attack, and if they can't play to that game plan, there's no plan B. And we saw today they've got no ideas. I swear you were going to captain Rashford. Mind games already. I was going to captain Rashford, but I brought Sterling in, and I thought Sterling was a better option. I've actually done a massive change to my team. I'm not going to reveal what I've done. I've done a massive change. I did a rage transfer, and it's gonna raise some eyebrows. Let's just pull it that way. It's gonna raise a lot of people's eyebrows what I've done to my team.
What? Well, I mean,
I'm not. No. Honestly, it's nothing. Honestly, when you see it, you're going to be like, "What on earth have you done?" Anyway,
why didn't you just reveal it? If you've told everybody,
no. So we ain't got long. We ain't got long till to the next game. So just don't worry. Let's just wait, and you can all be surprised. Marshall created 3 big chances. I've read that already. Rashford out, Ings in, says Paulie. Zaha and Rashford out, Vardy out, Ings in. Ings, yeah, talk about Danny Ings. Oh my God, why didn't I get Danny Ings in? God.
Well, before we talk about that,
what's the latest in the
it's a load of rubbish. It just sounds like an absolutely terrible game.
Right. Okay.
No one seems to be doing absolutely anything whatsoever, and it's really disappointing that Son. He ain't going to do anything, is he? He ain't going to do absolutely. I nearly swore then. Nothing.
Well,
so I want to talk to you about.
You don't know that.
Well, I don't know that, but the way this game sounding just sounds like it's going to end 1 or 2-0 to Chelsea. But Sterling captain, Jason. We heard last night from James that Man City battered City. Leicester City. I mean, obviously Sterling captaincy paid off, but how are you feeling?
Look, I was going to captain Rashford. There's no two ways about it. I was going to captain Rashford, so it's kind of saved me in a way. I fully expect City to have rotation in certain positions, but I just don't see Sterling missing out that many minutes over this festive period towards the end of this month into January. I think that now Aguero's back in that team, KDB is gonna get some nice returns, even more nice returns, because I think that unlike Jesus, Aguero, when he is fully fit, he's way more clinical of a striker, in my opinion. And I don't, if Aguero's back to fully fitness, will he start? Will he start the next game? What's your thoughts on that? Do you think
if he's fit, I still think that it's Jesus' place to lose.
Right. Really?
I think that Aguero will. The next match Aguero starts. If I just quickly bring up Man City's fixtures, so I don't think he'll start against Wolves, but maybe when they play Sheffield United on the 29th, or even possibly Everton at home on the 1st of January. So it's Jesus' place to lose. He's done well. I mean, I know he misses a lot of chances, but he's done well enough to not lose his place. But for me, if I mentioned it last night, if Aguero, for example, if he starts against Wolves or comes off the bench against Wolves and scores, immediately I'm thinking I may have to get this guy in.
Well, it's a bit risky. We'll give
one of the best strikers in the Premier League.
What's that? Aguero?
Yeah.
It's risky because we don't know what stage his fitness is at. I will give Abraham and Rashford next game week, and then I will decide if I will change it or not. Abraham, that's another one. We'll wait and see he finishes playing this game and see what happens. I'm looking at Abraham out too, Mr. Anderson says. What's your thoughts on people that have own Tammy Abraham for the fixtures going forward and obviously playing at the moment? People already looking at getting him out.
There's nothing wrong with it. He's done well this season. There's logic. He plays in an attacking team. I'm trying to find his specific raw data. Again, I'm one of those people that once a player who's in an attacking team starts slowing down with returning, i.e. Pulisic. I mean, Pulisic didn't even start today. So I'm just one of those players where it's like, get him gone. Whereas in Abraham's case, he has... the last time he scored was, funny enough, against Aston Villa. And then it was Everton-Bournemouth. He did nothing in. Prior to that, he didn't play against West Ham. He got nothing against Man City. 2 goals and 2 versus Watford and Crystal Palace. For me personally, I don't think it's good enough. And I'd be looking to get rid of Abraham. If I owned him, if I owned Abraham, I would be looking to get rid of him for maybe someone like Jimenez, who's just ticking along
Consistent,
nicely.
captain, consistent, like last season, very
I don't know about
consistent.
captaincy for Jimenez, but
No,
certainly...
I know. I just said captain consistent because both, but you know what I mean. It's consistent returns that he keeps getting.
Yeah.
Right, just bear with me a moment. I'm just going to sort something out, and I'll be right back. But what are the guys in chat saying? Oh, Ali's on a yellow card.
Oh, is he really?
I'm glad about that.
So, well, yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, I know a lot of people. James Bang, for example, has captained Dele Alli, and yeah, it does seem to. Good evening, John. Welcome to this. This is only going to be a short stream, everybody, as you can imagine why. I personally think this game is going to either end 1-0, 1-1, 2-0 Chelsea, something like that. Paulie, I took Jimenez out for Rashford 2 game weeks ago. Rashford got 4 points, Jimenez got 12. Who are the best front three or front two or front one? Someone mentioned above, I noticed that someone's thinking of going to 4-5-1 formation. I apologise that I can't see who that specifically was. Here we are. Bilal, I'm considering transferring out Abraham and Rashford and going for a 4-5-1 formation. What are your thoughts on this, guys? If I ever go for a 4-5-1 formation, that striker has to be somebody that is basically scoring or assisting every single week. And usually for me, it would have to be a premium defender. Jason, your thoughts on the striker, if you were to do a 4-5-1, what would that striker have to be for you? For me, it would have to be...
Now, if I was doing it now, or if I was doing it in the next... Well, I mean, 4-5-1 with a... Well, Vardy is just a machine, isn't he? I think if you don't own Vardy, you've missed out on... Well, you're probably nowhere near the top 500,000, to be honest with you. I think Vardy. I mean, it's going to be him. Aguero is up there in my considerations. You know, in a few game weeks, who knows? But yeah, 4-5-1 Aguero or Vardy for me, as it stands at the moment, would be Vardy. Anything happening?
Sorry, it just Gazzaniga went to collect a ball, clatters into Alonso.
Right.
Nothing is being given as
right,
such.
okay.
No, it's not going to be a penalty. It's typical, isn't it? The games...
Wait, has it gone to VAR, or is it just the referee's just been like, right, no, carry on?
I think it may have gone to VAR. People in chat, John Harris, that has to be a penalty. Arresting Pilgrim, that should have been a penalty. Should be a penalty, but for Chelsea, but ref has given a foul.
Well, they can still overrule it. If the guys in chat are saying it's a penalty, surely, then this is going to be very interesting. The referee's given a free kick to the goalkeeper. This could be a penalty then. So a penalty to Chelsea.
Possibly. I've got it on the radio, so I'll be able to tell you.
I think
immediately, but
will
the commentary team on the radio are saying that it should be a penalty.
Oh my god!
So I'm assuming.
Well, thank you, Aurier.
Jorginho playing.
Thank you ever so much, Aurier, for those 2 points. I appreciate it.
And Vertonghen.
Yeah. My team this week, I'm just very disappointed. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, I knew, I say I knew, but I did mention that I thought it was going to be a low-scoring game.
Penalty. It is a penalty, and people, of course, saying Willian will probably take the penalty.
Now, I hope... I feel weird now. I feel weird because do I want Gazzaniga to save this, knowing that people have got Gazzaniga in? Or do I want... Yeah.
Well, no one owns Willian if he takes it, which I'm assuming he will.
It'll be
I believe
Alonso.
Alonso will be given the assist if the goal goes in, of course. And William is going to be taking the penalty. So we'll find out in a few seconds.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Here we go. It's a goal.
Oh,
it's a goal.
Right.
You know.
There we go. Oh dear.
I'm hoping Mourinho lays into his team in the dressing room. And what did I say on Twitter? The pattern. The pattern was Spurs 1-1, loss 1-1, loss today. Chelsea was loss 1, loss today, win.
I thought you said you like a pattern. Why did you captain Son?
Well, I didn't know about this pattern until literally after everything had happened. But he was my best captaincy option in my team, I felt. So I just thought with his home record, done very, very well.
Why did you do that thing where I mean it does my head in when people do it. They captain Mane. You said last season, and I remember you saying it on a stream last season. I said I can't understand people that do this. It's so immature. And I was like shaking my head, and yeah, you did. I honestly, you did say that, and I was like, oh my god, you've actually done it. I was like, what on earth? But anyway, not that it makes a damned bit of difference, to be honest with you. Your best captaincy choice. So well, I suppose you weren't tempted with anyone else then, no. Oh well. So what the guys in chat sounds like Mount's. Well, what about Mount? Spurs are horrible, apparently, in this game, says Philip.
Yeah, completely useless. Absolute waste of time. Jason, your thoughts on yesterday's games? Were there any standout fixtures, any standout moments where you were just like, oh, I can't believe it? Man City winning 3-1, of course, Southampton winning 3-1 with Danny Ings scoring twice. Crystal Palace
Bournemouth losing to Burnley. Like, I was expecting...
Why was that? Why was that a shock?
No, I wasn't expecting Burnley to just... I wasn't expecting Burnley to win that.
Game. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Burnley do not lose to the relegation rivals. We only lose to teams which are top 10 and above. And as I mentioned yesterday regarding moving forward, I said that we ain't got a hope in hell of, for example, keeping a clean sheet. We'd be lucky to keep one clean sheet in the next 7. We're going to lose to Everton. We're going to lose to Man United. We'll probably get something out of Aston Villa. Chelsea away, absolutely no chance. Leicester at home, no chance. Man United away, no chance. Arsenal at home, no. In fact, our next win, I think, will be against Aston Villa at home. And then after that, it'll be, I reckon, Southampton or Bournemouth. Well, funny enough, Bournemouth in February. So if you're looking to potentially look at assets who play like Charlie does, who've got really good fixtures, maybe bring in players that are playing against Burnley, Everton, Richarlison as an example. I know he blanked yesterday, but apparently yesterday's game was absolutely atrocious. Probably about as bad as this, to be honest with you. But yeah, your thoughts on Newcastle?
I'm surprised that Everton didn't score at home to Arsenal. I was surprised at that. Arsenal didn't do too bad, actually. Watch that game. The other one was Newcastle beating Crystal Palace 1-0. I mean, having watched bits of that game and highlights of that game, Crystal Palace very unlucky. I felt they were pretty dominant throughout a lot of the game, and Almiron completely unmarked in the box. Not like Palace, actually. Really poor marking from across, and Almiron just finds himself with acres of space, literally no one near him, able to control and just one touch it and shoot. Actually, Gaeta getting a hand to it, but obviously not enough to deflect it outwards. Wolves comfortably. They beat Norwich 2-1 away. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, other than that, yeah, everything kind of went the way I expected, really. Today, though, I mean, this isn't how I expected. Like, Watford to beat United 2-0 at home. I mean, I genuinely was shocked at that game, and then what I'm hearing
Were
already.
You though?
I'm shocked. I'm shocked because of the manner that we performed against the team that obviously sits back. I'm not going to keep talking about United because I'm just sick of it. But yeah, I am shocked that we lost 2-0. I am. Spurs at home to Chelsea losing, and can you see Chelsea getting a 3 points from this game, Steve-O?
Well, they're winning 2-0 now. Why not? Yeah, I can. Yeah, the 2-0. They've got
2-0.
They're not gonna. Yeah, they're not going to. They're not going to
2-0 up?
Yeah, didn't you not know that? That was the second goal. Yeah, William, 2 goals.
Who scored the first?
William. I said earlier on. Yeah. So Chelsea aren't going to let up a 2-0 lead, and
there you
this
go.
is probably going to end.
Right, okay. Sorry, I was looking at the results and obviously they hadn't refreshed. Okay. Wow, there you go. Alonso and Kovacic getting the assists for Willian. Well, I didn't even know. Sorry, I had the old data up on the screen. My points are awful this game week.
Well, I think a lot
I'm
of people are, to be honest
I'm
with
going to
you.
be
No one's-
dropping 250,000 places.
But if anybody wants to come live on air, we're only going to go on for another 30 odd minutes or so. If anybody wants to come live on air to vent or even gloat maybe about what's going on regarding their teams this particular game week. I'd love to hear, as Jason always says, some disaster stories. But looking forward to Boxing Day already, Jason?
I'm looking forward to Boxing Day because if we can get the group of people on again, like the James Bang, Wiz, Daily Llama, Boona, anyone else that wants to jump in and act as correspondents, we can have live reporting from the games and have a visual of what's going on in front of us. I'm super excited for Boxing Day. I really am.
Your thoughts on Simeon Batchelor saying that he's going to captain Mane in away games and Salah at home for the rest of the season?
Good luck. Good luck to you. I mean, Liverpool just seem to be on a roll. They're on a high. Everything they do is turning to gold. So why not? If that's your thought process, then go for it, my friend. I haven't got either of those players in my team. So yes, if that pays off for you, could be really good. Gutted I've missed out on the Ings points, says Bilal. So am I, but then I never really thought about getting them in. Abdul Kadir says I've had a bad week, bad captain choice in Rashford. If I don't drop below 12k, then I'm happy. 12k? Well, I'm going to be dropping over 500k, I think. Spurs are a big trap, says Philippe in chat. Steve, are they a big trap?
No, I mean, look at their recent results.
Is Harry Kane a trap?
Yes.
Why is Harry Kane a trap when so many people?
He doesn't play up front. End of discussion. He just seems to be constantly dropping deep.
Okay.
So what he does, he just drops deep. That's it, and he tries to create. He does what Lionel Messi seems to be doing at Barcelona. The only difference is that Lionel Messi is Lionel Messi. Harry Kane is Harry Kane. Harry Kane needs to be just stuck in the box and not move. Instead, it's Son and Ali that do all that.
He's not the style of player that can be a playmaker. I don't know what he's trying to do. The Daily Llama, I messaged you on Discord. We need to try and get in touch about this Elite FPL Champions League draw. If you can get a chance to reply, and maybe we can have a meeting afterwards, that'd be great. Kane's legs have gone, says Clacko. Kane hasn't touched the ball from Rudiger. Chelsea look amazing with him in the side. Rashford almost scored in the end of the game. Yeah, but he didn't, Abdul. I know he came close, but almost isn't good enough, is it? Kane is finished. I agree, says James. Well, I wonder, be interesting what Boona thinks about that. Rashford to Pookie, says the Don. I don't know how well. Tashi should have captain Ings. Yeah, I'm sure that was going through your mind. Saturday morning.
Oh, this is when everybody's going to be coming out and saying,
"Yeah, I knew I should have captained Ings."
I should have captained Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, I was going to do it, but the last second, someone in Discord told me that I should have captained Rashford. Sorry, I didn't realise other people thought for you. Kane needs to go to Man United. People are talking about Pochettino going to Man United. I don't want Pochettino at United. People at the top of the FPL captain dings. What do they know that we don't? Well, he's in form. He's the talisman of a Southampton team that are scoring goals. I mean, yeah, I can see that. I captain Rashford, not happy, but you win some, you lose some. Shano says you do win some, and you know you do. You've got to roll with it, and just remember that it's a marathon, not a sprint, and those points that you lose this week, you can get back hopefully in the next week. Thank God I didn't transfer Rashford in. United are bad against low block teams. I mean, Tashi, I think we were saying that in the preview. We've been saying that for quite some weeks. All the pundits are saying that as well. It doesn't take a genius to work out that United have got one game plan. And if they can't play that game plan, they're pretty two-dimensional. They can't really do anything, can't think out of the box, can't be creative. And if Rashford's going to just literally be hugging the left-hand touchline and hardly ever making any runs in behind, then, I mean, that chance where Lingard went through on goal, if that had been Rashford, I think it would have been a goal. But because Lingard was playing more centrally, you know, he's the one that gets the opportunity. He's the one that spurs it. It was a hard one. It was a hard dink over the goalkeeper. I give him that. But, you know, if you're a clinical finisher, you can deal with things. Look at Jamie Vardy's goal. That was absolutely a beautiful finish. Pure. I mean, these players, they get split-second opportunities to do something, and the top players take those chances.
Sorry to interject, Jason. Are you aware of your cup opponent this week?
Oh, I haven't even looked.
Just please do, because this is just extraordinary.
Oh, don't.
Absolutely extraordinary. We're talking. It's not even a dead team, but it's the actual team itself.
I've got his team up. He's beating me, isn't he?
By only a couple of points.
Well, it's all on. Well, it's on Ali. It's on Ali and Aurier, essentially, to do something which they aren't going to do. Look at that! Look at that team. I'm going out to that team, guys, this week.
Harry Wilson, AU, Willems, Pulisic not playing, of course. He's got Pickford,
De Gea on the bench.
Captain Vardy, of course. Oh, I'm sure there's horror stories in these people that do these cashmen. I mean, he started in game week 3. This individual started in game week 3. No season history or anything like that. So, just absolutely. I mean, you're still in it. Well,
I'm about to go out unless a miracle happens and Aurier and assists Sally or something like that.
It's raw 12G. I'm losing to a guy with triple Man United. I lost last week with a dead team with a score of 6. Yeah, I can. Well, actually, no. I had a really tough opponent when I had it last week.
Let's just bring your team up actually on the screen. Let's see how you're getting on, Steve-O. Like I said, his points aren't a true reflection. He's got Vardy coming on. He's on 42 points with Vardy on. 42 points. So you're going to be catching up on me this week. And yeah, I think again, Ali, Vertonghen, Son. It's just a triple up there, and just so far not paying off. Spurs, are they a team that you want 3 assets of? That's the question. My cup opponent wildcarded this week, but did absolutely shocking. Thankfully, dead teams are really the scariest. Yeah, buzzing with 39 points. What an awesome week, says Hamad. I mean, again, I really didn't think it would be people would be hitting high scores purely because of the fixtures. But I certainly didn't think I'd be, struggling to get 40 points though.
James is saying that he's playing someone in the cup who has only 6 points.
What?
That's crazy. They must have a team literally of just non-playing players.
Yeah, injuries and suspensions and.
What did you I don't know if you've seen it or not. Did you see that Show Me the Mane played his free hit yesterday?
I watched a bit of your stream, and yeah, didn't he do? He benched. Who did he bench? Vardy, wasn't
Lucas Moura. He's got Lucas Moura on the bench.
Oh right, okay.
Why on earth he brought him in, I have no idea. Captain Richarlison doubled up on Wolves' attack. Jimenez and Jota. He brought in Calvert-Lewin in the front three. I mean, again, it's the classic thing. It was all hindsight, but the team itself, I don't know why he free hitted. I really don't know why he would free. I mean, I'm
starting to get the impression that it's radical. He's trying to just do radical moves that get us talking. Like, I can't see any other reason for doing a free hit in this game week. Personally, he's brought in interesting player picks, and he's captain Richarlison, which unfortunately didn't pay off. Unnecessary. I mean, I advised other people in the call-in to not free hit. Sorry. I mean, it could have paid off, but it had more likelihood of not paying off. But yeah.
Of course, and people reminding us of FPL Boona, who so far his let's have a quick look here. His -12 is not doing well at all. I have no idea where he's dropped down
Where is
to.
he now?
He's got. I have no idea. I have no idea where Boona's dropped down.
Now.
Brilliant. Where's FPL Boona?
He's 41.
41.
Oh my god.
Well, he's still over 1,000 points.
Oh my god.
18
Boona.
points as it stands right now, -12. So he's actually on 6. Yeah. Oh, that's what the joke is in the chat. And he's going to get... Well, he's got Henderson and Jota coming off the bench.
Oh yeah, he's benched his goalie. That's for a non-playing. Wouldn't it have been funny if
Yes,
Ryan had got injured and Button came on for 1 minute or something? I would have laughed my head off. But as a friend, Boona, of course, would have laughed with you. I'm sure I would have. So not a massive score.
He's on 18. He's on 20 points because Henderson wipes out the 12 -12.
And then he's got 2 points from Jota.
It's that's what I mean. So 20 points. So
yeah.
It's all about moving forward onto Boxing Day, and for me, there's just no real.
So bloody lucky with Henderson, though. Sorry, moving on to Boxing Day. What? Sorry.
No standout captaincy for me. No standout captaincy whatsoever.
There is for me. There is for me.
Who's that?
Yes, there is.
Is it the player you put in? Or?
Not saying anything more. But I've already set my team up ready. Don't worry. I've not got any worries in the world. Put it this way. I ain't going to worry about money on the bench anymore. Put it that way.
Interesting.
Yeah. Captain Gaeta. There you go. Son versus Brighton could be a good captaincy choice as Salah in chat. What time is the stream ending? In probably 23 minutes. But Son versus Brighton, Steve-O. You've captained Son this... anyone watching the game, how is Son looking this game? Obviously, they're losing 2-0, but how is he doing? Ali or Son for Salah? Question mark, says Ian Anderson. Good moves. Rashford versus Newcastle. Yeah, that's a good. I think Rashford still is a good pick in FPL. I haven't got to the point of saying exercise or get rid of every Man United player in your team now, because they've still got some nice fixtures and I can't see them being turned over by Newcastle. But I'm very well prepared of being red-faced if they do. Spurs look very poor all around, says Resting Pilgrim in chat. Eriksen's come on for Dyer.
Yeah. I'd like to think that will help boost the attack of Tottenham with a bit more creativity. We all know the fact that Eriksen does, or Tottenham do very well when Eriksen is playing. So I'd like to think that this will help us Son captain us out there, but I can't see anything happening with that. I think it's going to end maybe 2-0, 2-1, something like that. But no, are we? Do you know if we're going to be doing a preview, Jason, for Boxing Day? Preview, that is. Because could you just let everybody know what's going on?
Yeah. So
tomorrow.
Basically, Daily Lama's in chat. So I need to contact Daily Lama because we need some information from him for the draw of the Champions League. There's a very good chance that Monday night at 7 o'clock on Monday night, I'll be doing a live stream drawing the teams for the Champions League. There's a very good chance that's going to happen. For whatever reason it doesn't, it'll be a Tuesday night. Or, we're getting close to Christmas at this point, so it needs to be Monday night, really. And preview-wise, for Game Week 19, which is on Thursday, when are you free to do a preview, Steve?
Basically, anytime. Anytime, it's all
Tuesday
down
night?
to...
That's New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve?
Yeah. I'm completely free from that point onwards.
Christmas Eve, then, we'll do one.
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
Christmas Eve.
For anybody asking Abdul, for example, how do you enter the Champions League? Everything closed.
Yeah, weeks ago.
About a month ago now.
Yeah, so there's it's over 60 teams. Lama knows the exact numbers. I think like 60, 65 teams or so, 66 teams or something like that, entered in with a mixture of content creators, celebrities, literally. Jules Breach is in it. Crazy. We've got some well-known FPL community members in there as well. It'll all be revealed Monday evening in the draw and will be posted on social media. Again, for those of you watching the stream, over the last few days we've been pretty all over the place with our stream timings and schedules, mainly because I've been ill, and that's kind of affected when the streams have gone live, essentially. I'm grateful for Steve-O for doing one yesterday. Actually, it was a good listen as well. For you and Dan, actually, it was a really good listen about the Emery sacking. And
what are your thoughts, actually, Jason, on Arteta and Ancelotti taking their respective clubs?
Ancelotti, amazing. I thought it would have been the other way round. I thought the appointments would have gone to the other clubs, vice versa. But no, Everton have actually got a steal there, and Arsenal have got a. I mean, no disrespect, but I just think it's like you said, underwhelming. It's not. It's a sideways move, maybe slightly a regressive move, in my opinion, and a bit of a punt. I'm calling it a punt. By all means, Arteta could prove us all wrong and actually turn Arsenal into a winning machine that can avoid a desperately awful league position come the end of the season. But I'm not going to put any money on it. Maybe Digne, it could be a good option, says Abdul. Maybe. Everton have got decent fixtures. Play Zaha or Pulisic next game week. Zaha, Samir. He is going to fail at Arsenal, end of, says Zane in chat. Ancelotti said that he had Champions League ambitions. Maybe that is why he did not want to go to Arsenal. Ooh, resting Pilgrim there. Shots fired. King or Wilson in? Any thoughts? Says JC. Wilson, is he fit? I thought he was injured.
I think he got back to light training.
Right, okay. Well, I mean, they're not exactly in high form, JC. I mean, they are punts, really. I mean...
Didn't Josh King have 0 shots yesterday or something like that?
Yeah. Wilson played 45 minutes, did he? Oh, right, okay. I mean, again, it's a bit of a punt. I know it's Wilson, Callum Wilson, but still a bit of a punt. I certainly would be looking at Ings or Jimenez if you don't own them. More likely to get clean sheets now. What's this? Zaha, right? Yeah. Any more? Sorry, my nose is starting to get all bunged up. This is the last parts of overcoming this sinus problem. Any other news from that game, Spurs and Chelsea?
Well, let's just put it this way: Tottenham are sounding a lot more livelier.
Apparently, I read in the chat a few minutes ago that Son had a possible tap-in choice.
Really?
Chance. But
I've heard nothing through. I heard Aurier had an opportunity to possibly score, but all I can say is that Tottenham are sounding livelier. Could they score? Probably.
Please, Ali, get something.
Well, yeah. I mean...
Well, actually, no, I don't own him. Why did I say that? Please, Aurier, get something. Abraham should have shot but passed, and Son hasn't been that close. Okay, thank you for that update, Paulie.
If you want to make yourself feel better, Jason, somebody in the Torbay Elite League, Dale Bellamy is doing very, very well. If you want to look at his first sub, I think it make you feel better along with many others.
Dale Bellamy, Bellamy, second in the Elite FPL, the Torbay Elite Cash League that we're also a part of.
56,000th. Look at his first sub.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting though. Interesting. Playing Maddison against City over Ings, it was an interesting.
But we had Kev on last night, and Dale's in the same predicament where he's got too strong a team.
He's got a really. He's spoilt for choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's got his. I mean, Kenny and Soyuncu, he's obviously worked out with Lundstrom and Baldock. Aurier hasn't, of course, but yeah, I think I wouldn't have doubled up. I had Maddison and Vardy, and I was actually thinking, I don't really fancy having both Maddison and Vardy against City. I know Vardy did score and got bonus 3, which I want to say that bonus 3 for Vardy, absolute joke, by the way, absolute joke. If anyone watches this from FPL Towers or anyone involved with the bonus point system, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's an absolute joke, and I don't understand it. I don't understand why he got those bonus points. What was this here? Tammy goal.
No, it's been ruled offside. That's why I didn't mention it.
Right, yeah. I was just reading. Sorry, I was on a tangent, and then all of a sudden I read chat and said Tammy goal, Jason. And it said Phil, but then everyone's saying offside. Yeah. It was a joke, says Salah, even as a Vardy owner. Yeah. But yeah, how did he get 3 points bonus in a 3-1 loss? Exactly, Sultan Saeed. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know why.
Do you think Liverpool assets are worth jumping on?
Yes. Maybe not straight away though. Maybe not straight away. I don't know. Maybe we might wait until January, to be honest with you.
Do you think they're going to be tired ahead of the game against Leicester? Because obviously
they're going to be rotations. I think,
yeah.
But
do you think Klopp will play a so-called weakened team in which that
against Leicester? No,
because he's got such a high points ceiling gap or whatever you want to call it in the league.
I think there will be one player rotated. I think one of. Thing is who? I think Mane could be dropped.
Because their next fixtures are Leicester away, Wolves at home, two extremely hard fixtures. Sheffield United, Tottenham, Man U. Yes.
I think I'd wait personally if I don't own them. If you've benched the likes of Mane, Robertson, Trent, of course, keep them in your team because you've benched them for the blank game week and then play them. But if you haven't got the complement of Liverpool players, and you're not quite sure, I think it's fair to hold off just for the foreseeable, especially if you've got the likes of like myself, Sterling, or you got De Bruyne in as well. Like you, Steve-O. I don't know. I think that maybe not essential to get him in straight away, but obviously the prices possibly could be rising. I have a point of view. Sorry, yeah.
Sultan Saeed asking, who do you think the best replacements are for Trent Alexander-Arnold?
I mean, there's no one around that price point, so you're looking to save money by getting him out. Doherty for Wolves could be a good shout.
I can't even think he's got any decent fixtures to be honest.
This season isn't really about, other than Lundstrom, this season hasn't been about defenders, is it really? It's not been a season where we've been like getting massive points hauls from a lot of defenders.
Just clean sheets in general.
It's not going to be a season remembered much for the back line getting you massive point returns. Exactly. Resting Pilgrim says plenty of high-scoring defenders for less money than Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Well, James Bang mentioned Mendy.
Yes.
Cemented his place now in the team, and they've got some very good fixtures coming up.
That could be a good shout. What's Mendy at now? Is he
5.4 or something like that? Yeah.
Really, that's a good price. When's Laporte due back? Do you know? Is it a while, or is he?
I honestly don't know.
When Laporte returns for City, I think that's going to change things.
But isn't he come back to training?
Son could be red carded. It's gone to VAR.
Sorry?
Son could be in trouble. It's gone to VAR.
Commentary are saying they don't think it is a red card.
It's
gone to VAR,
he's kicked out someone. Well, if he's kicked out someone, it's a blimmin' red card. You can't kick out on someone. Doesn't matter what it is. I've sent people off in the Sunday League for doing that.
Oh, hold on a minute. Anthony Taylor's called Son across.
I've sent people off for kicking out. He's going to go off. If he's kicked out off the ball, then that has to be a red card.
It's a red card.
It has to be. I mean, it's not a case of like, poor Sonny, Son's all right. He's that. Wow. Steve-O, live reaction.
It's just laughable. It's just laughable. Just when I know I didn't think he'd do anything, knowing what's happening in the game anyway, I said he's probably going to blank, but
I can't believe that.
Just when you think, you know what, get a minimum of 2 points, double it to 4. Now it's what, minus 4 or whatever a red card is. So
what is? I mean, the one player that you would think wouldn't get a red card.
Well, it makes it easy for me to get rid of him, doesn't it? You can get.
Guess what? Guess what, Steve-O?
You've already done it?
No. I've already
brought him in.
No. I've already done a -8, and I've kept Son in my team.
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
You know what? YOLO, everybody. YOLO indeed. Well, there you go. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, you never make your transfers before the end of a game week.
Is that? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just made it up for entertainment purposes.
Well, you may as well. Oh, look at this game. We're getting bad. Any worse? So... Jesus, that's amazing.
Can I play a free hit? Oh no, sorry, I can't. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh well. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Wow. Oh, I can't even bring in a particular player and get rid of a Tongan.
I'm so done with FPL.
So just to clarify again, we're not we're not going into it, but just to clarify, you've done a -8, and that didn't involve Sun.
Well, I could be lying, of course, but I'm not.
Either way, that is incredible. What to do? How more importantly, what are you now thinking?
Well, I'm thinking I might have to do a -16. Like, I'm genuinely contemplating it. I'm genuinely contemplating it, Steve-O.
We are live, aren't we?
Can we just pause the stream a minute?
No, we can't.
Oh God, I don't believe this. I genuinely don't believe. Oh my God. Right, well, I think I may have worked out what I'm going to do. I think I may have worked out what I'm going to do. Right, anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and I'll see you next.
Well, we are going to be going off soon, but in all seriousness, I mean, how long is he going to be suspended for? Is it 3 games?
3 games.
3 games.
Violent conduct.
Well, that's scuppered up all our plans, hasn't it, everybody? That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. What an... Well...
I'm in trouble. I've just gone from a bad game week into a oh crap game week.
I couldn't even, if I wanted to, bring in Salah for Son. I can't even do that.
No, I've just been trying to do that, dude. And I'm like, oh right, I need to find how much do I? Yeah, I need 2.2 million. Oh, where can I get that from? Oh, let's get rid of Trent Alexander-Arnold, for example. Or let's get rid of. Oh no, I'm not going to tell you what else I got in, but that's.
Well, this can get turned off then.
You know what? That's going to make it interesting in the FPL, the actual landscape of FPL, isn't it? It's going to make things. Wow. That's going to put the cat amongst the pigeons. I wonder who else. Who did Boona captain?
Kane.
Oh God! If he'd captained Son, it would have been even better. I can't believe that Son got a red card. I really don't. Oh well.
Jason, I think we'll wrap. We'll wrap it up here. I think we only wanted to go on for an hour.
Yeah, we did. But, thank you everyone that's joined us for the highs and the lows, and especially my lows. I've got some thinking to do. I've genuinely got some thinking to do, and wow, Son red card, -8 on my team. Do I really want to be taking a -12 or a -16? Could it be one of those game weeks that pay off, or I don't know. Wow, thinking. Right, guys, take care. Follow us on social media. Hit the subscribe button. We'll see you. Hopefully
Tomorrow.
see you tomorrow night. Take care, Steve-O.
See you later all.